Welcome to the Corner of Film podcast. I'm Niall from Corner of Film, which is a film website where I write about film. I'm joined today by my co-host and best friend, Jack. How you doing, Jack?
I am lovely. How are you, Niall? How's your weekend been and your week?
Do you know what? It's been great. I'm on a real high right now because that whole intro I've written on a post-it note, which is just sitting in front of me. So I should never get that wrong again.
Also, I thought you were just reading that for practice, so I started reading it along with you. So I'm sorry if you can hear that.
Oh no, that's fine.
I thought you were just practicing.
That's fine. I'll just have like a little echo. It'd be nice.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's just jump straight in. Segment 1.
Segment 1.
It's always exciting.
Always.
Go on, Jack. What have you been watching?
So I've watched a bit of a mixed bag again this week. I've upped it to 4 this week, surprisingly.
Oh,
I don't know how, but some real bangers in there. You ready?
I'm ready.
So I started off my week with Cinderella Story.
Ooh, Hilary Duff, yeah.
Yeah, not my choice, I should add. However, for that kind of film, it was all right. It wasn't offensive. It was just you know what you're getting.
Well, it's a classic of the teen rom-com.
So I hear.
Chad Michael Murray. What's her face is in it? What?
Jennifer Coolidge. Yeah, she's a legend.
She's great.
She was probably the best thing about that. I can't lie.
Yeah, she is funny.
Yeah, great film. And then on the back of that, following last week's podcast, I watched Chicken Run because I hadn't watched that in well over 10 years.
That's a great film.
Still really enjoyed it. It was brilliant.
Yep. The thing is with that sort of animation, it just doesn't age like that.
It looks great.
Yeah.
And I love that. And then somehow, I don't know how, considering both me and my girlfriend are massive, Marvel fans, she let it drop that she'd never seen Spider-Man 2 or 3, as in like the Raimi ones.
Ooh.
So I was like, how on earth have you not seen Spider-Man 2? Because, I mean, that is just a great film. So we watched Spider-Man 2 and 3, and we all know, 3 is a bit...
It's a bit wonky, but
it's a bit weird. Yeah. You couldn't actually... I was like, you're about to witness cinematic masterpiece. Like, all those memes you've seen are coming up in the next 2 minutes.
Make sense now, yeah.
All of them. And, that scene, obviously, the famous scene in the jazz club, she was like, what the hell is actually going on? Like, what... They actually got Tobey Maguire to chair slide and air hump the whole room.
It's that weird face he does that does it for me. It just creeps me out.
It was hilarious. I did love it, but yeah, I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, I don't dislike that film at all. It's
no, it's
the
good.
Weakest of the 3, but it's still.
Oh yeah, still great. But that kind of concludes my, apart from TV watching, like cartoons and that's pretty much it. What about you? What have you been watching?
Well, you're going to have to brace yourself because this is the biggest list yet.
Oh, God.
So I'll leave out the TV stuff I've watched because there's about 3 TV shows that I'm halfway through.
Okay.
I've broken the films down into kind of 2 categories. I've watched some really great films and I've watched some not so great Netflix films.
Okay.
A couple of those were because I had to write about them. A couple of them were just for fun because I fancied that sort of, wonky stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming the Netflix ones are the poorer ones.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So what I'll do is I will throw them at you. If you want to hear more about them, just let me know and I can give you an overview. But
Okay.
All right, so the Netflix films, I watched Sweet Girl, I watched Run, I watched Stowaway, and I watched Afterlife of the Party.
Okay, I'm intrigued by Afterlife of the Party. Is that like a teen drama comedy?
Yes, it is. So basically, this sort of young party girl, she's like early 20s, and she has an argument with her best friend and then dies really suddenly.
Oh, dear.
In quite hilarious fashion, but she dies. And then she comes back as a spirit to sort of fix all the problems that she had in her relationships before she can move on.
Move on to what? To like the afterlife?
Yeah. It was lots of sort of wonky expositional dialogue, really pointless stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of quite emotional moments. Like
Really?
it had a decent sort of emotional core to it, but it was just sort of interspersed with all this really weird, kind of wacky attempts at humor that just did not fit.
I feel that's most of Netflix films
And
nowadays.
it wasn't bad. Like the production values were decent, but like the weirdest part for me, I think, was literally half the cast are American. It doesn't say where they're living, but it's sort of implied it's like a kind of New York. It's like a metropolis type
Right.
place. Half the cast are American, and literally the other half of the cast are all British for no apparent reason.
Well, and there's no mention of like an exchange school or anything.
Nope. No mention of the fact that they're British at all. They're just
Fair
some of them are
enough.
British, some are American. There's no other um like
Nationalities.
no, none.
Are we the baddies?
No, not at all. It's just a really weird mixture.
Hmm.
So yeah, the others, Sweet Girl is the Jason Momoa revenge film.
Oh, you're looking forward to that, weren't you?
I've reviewed it. It was okay. It wasn't anything special. If you like
No.
an action film, like again, I think we can talk about this a little bit in the news segment because there's been some
Yes.
stuff about similar stuff
Okay.
that links in. But yeah, it wasn't great. Run was the one. I don't know if you've heard about it. Sarah Paulson, and she's got a daughter in a wheelchair.
No, but I do like Sarah Paulson.
Oh, she is good in it. But it's like basically it's about the daughter in the wheelchair is played by a girl called Kira Allen, who's an actual disabled person. She is like the first wheelchair user to star in a film for an embarrassingly long amount of time.
Bloody hell, really?
It was an okay film. Every twist it had, I saw come in literally in the first 2 minutes of the film. So it wasn't great. And Stowaway was an Anna Kendrick sci-fi film. So Anna Kendrick, Pitch Perfect Trolls Anna Kendrick, is an astronaut.
Ooh.
It was not particularly good. I just didn't care about it at all. But yeah, those are my Netflix films. But sort of in between watching those, I've also watched, finally, Parasite.
Hey.
Which was just exceptional. There's a review going up tomorrow, so it will already be out by the time this is edited. I watched Midsummer, finally.
Nice.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Okay.
I believe I've written a review. I don't think I've posted it yet, but there's a review out there somewhere, probably coming out at some point soon.
Somewhere.
I properly sat down to watch Dawn of the Dead, the original.
No, I've not actually seen that, and that is criminal because I pride myself on loving like old horror films, especially that's like,
that is absolutely groundbreaking horror, like something else. Obviously the like zombie effects are all practical. They're not.
That's the best stuff.
The actual zombie it's mostly they just have a bit of grey face paint and that's kind of it. But the
simple works.
Well, like the gore and stuff was really really exceptional for, especially considering that's like 78, I think.
Around that, isn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great film.
Awesome.
I also watched, and you're going to judge me for this, I think, but I loved this film. I watched Just Like Heaven. The Mark Ruffalo, Reese Witherspoon rom-com.
I wouldn't judge you for that because we're Mark Ruffalo fans in this house, and and Reese Witherspoon, but we love Mark Ruffalo.
I had a big Reese Witherspoon like phase when I was, I don't know, about 14.
Nice.
But it's a really good film. It's just like a nice light-hearted watch. I really enjoyed
good rom-com.
And I've also watched with the children. My daughter is now old enough to appreciate the magic that is Harry Potter. So we've watched 1 and 2.
Amazing. I
didn't think we've sort of come to the general consensus that 3 is okay.
Oh, whoa. Okay, in what? In like suitable to watch?
Yeah. So my gut was my gut was like, no way is that going to be all right for her. Like, but she wasn't bothered by Aragog. She wasn't bothered by the basilisk. In fact, the part that she was most scared of in the second one was when Mrs. Norris gets petrified. That was what upset her the most.
That is pretty scary.
Well, yeah, but the bit that scared her the second most was the Cornish pixies.
Actually, got Cornish pixies.
Mr. Finnegan, yeah.
Hold on, how old is she again?
She is 6.
6. Okay, I'm just trying to think how old we were when the first one came out.
Yeah, I was, I don't know, 7, 8, I think we were ish.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's not too far removed, and she's old enough to follow like the plot. She really enjoyed them.
Oh, good.
The third one is a PG. I don't know what that rating is in America. I don't know how they're
No,
but PG's parental guidance. So
it's up to you.
yeah, and sort of my gut was no, she can't watch that yet. It's got Dementors and Sirius Black, and it's got that sort of slightly
It's
darker
dark.
tone. Then sort of I thought about it a little bit, and I thought actually though, other than the plot being a little bit like time travel-y and a bit confusing,
Yeah.
it's not inappropriate. Like
No, not at
no
all.
more than the second. The
No,
second's got some pretty scary stuff in it.
it
So
does. The only thing I will say is, did you watch the third one? Yeah.
no, we haven't yet. No.
Okay, because if you watch the third one, she's gonna want to watch Goblet of Fire, and like storyline wise, it does get a bit like.
Oh yeah, no, we're not doing Goblet of Fire yet.
I was gonna say.
Do you know what? Goblet of Fire is fine until the last 20 minutes, and then it's a big no-no. Like,
Oh yes.
no, thank you.
That's my boy.
Oh, don't. I quote that all the time, but
I don't know what. That's some of the best acting in the whole franchise. He's so good.
it absolutely is. Really is.
Anyway, we're not going to get sidetracked on Harry Potter.
No, so those are my film watches.
Nice. There's some good ones in there.
There is, and some bad ones.
And some bad ones.
Yeah.
That's life.
Should we move on? Should we go into the next segment?
Yeah, let's go into segment number 2.
Let the games begin. There we go.
You do your thing.
I'll do my thing with that. Yeah. So today for segment 2, we have each brought along something completely different. I have no idea what Jack's going to do. Jack has some idea of what I'm going to do,
but not entirely.
No. Jack, do you want to go first?
Yeah, we'll get mine out of the way because, to be honest, mine is really stupid and it shouldn't take too long. But I thought it would be a bit of fun. It's what I've gone for because people enjoy a bracket thing. We've done the brackets twice now, but we like a.
I think we've done 3, have we not?
Have we actually done 3?
Yeah, sci-fi, Sandman, and animated.
Oh damn! Yeah. Okay. Well, mine's along that lines, but it's basically who would win in a fight between these characters.
Okay.
There's a couple of obvious ones that people discuss a lot, and there's some random ones which I thought would be kind of interesting. So up first, we've got the big obvious one. We've got Dumbledore versus Gandalf, of course.
Ooh.
Who is going to win in the wizard fight? I'm not 100% clued up on Lord of the Rings and Gandalf lore like I am Dumbledore. I know Dumbledore quite well.
You will not be surprised by this, but I am very much clued in on Lord of the Rings lore.
You're not, are you?
I am.
God.
I don't get me wrong. Dumbledore is iconic wizard, but I do think Gandalf would win. So Gandalf is not human. He is I can't remember exactly what he is, but Gandalf is actually the same race of beings as like the Balrog and Sauron and people like that.
I did know that actually.
So Gandalf is like this super powerful, like near immortal being. I just don't see how Dumbledore could really do that, and I feel like Dumbledore wouldn't want to. He'd just sort of
he'd be cool with that. Although Dumbledore can apparate.
This is true, but I mean, my biggest thing is I'd like to know what it is that makes them fight.
That's a very good point.
Do you know what I mean? What would get those two fighting? That's the real question here.
I don't know. So we know Gandalf likes to smoke on the Hobbit Kush on the Devil's Lettuce, and I'd imagine Dumbledore's pretty liberal. I'd imagine he'd like that, and obviously Dumbledore's favourite snack and sweet is a sherbet lemon, and I can see them falling out over Gandalf nicking the last sherbet lemon. Yes,
while he's on the Sauron's lettuce, absolutely.
On Sauron's sauce.
Yeah,
I can imagine that. So, I agree. Probably Gandalf.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I've got a second Harry Potter themed one here. Okay, that's the last time a double comes up. But next up, we've got E.T.
Yeah.
Versus Dobby.
Ooh. I mean, E.T. heals people.
He does heal people.
I don't know. I feel like E.T. has kind of more magic than Dobby, maybe.
But then Dobby does have magic.
He does, but we don't know the extent of E.T.'s power.
No, that is exactly right. And Dobby doesn't have a spaceship, so, you know.
I think for argument's sake, though, if we were to say on Earth, like during the events of ET, if Dobby just turned up and didn't want, well, this is why they're fighting. I think
this is exactly why they're fighting.
Doesn't want ET to return to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Understandably.
Yeah, and so they're fighting over that. I feel like Dobby he could just steal a wand and just like quick killing curse done.
Oh, Dobby's not got it in him.
No, I think you're right.
Dobby doesn't mean to kill. He means to, you know, what does he say?
Is true. Yeah, I only maim or something.
Maim or seriously injure.
That's the one. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think E.T. would, because we don't know how deep E.T.'s mean streak runs.
Exactly. He's a mysterious guy. And E.T. has got a wicked disguise routine. You know, you can dress him up as an old lady with a handbag and you'd never know. Like,
or
you could just...
as Yoda. And
or a soda, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, E.T. Sorry.
E.T., okay. Okay, now we're going to mix it up a little bit. And we're going to go Bond, any of the Bonds, just Bond in general, versus John Wick.
Oh, John Wick.
John Wick, yeah, okay, I thought that was the case.
James Bond is too preoccupied with, like, bedding women and...
Yeah, he's not focused enough.
No, he really isn't. And I think when you really watch James Bond, he's a little bit inept. Like, he does a lot of really stupid things.
He does.
John Wick is just a killing machine.
Yeah, and he's fueled by the death of his dog and his wife. So that's all he needs to go.
Maybe James Bond killed them. That's...
Oh, yeah.
That would be a twist, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I also, you know, as many people have said, John Wick kind of is, you know, the new Bond franchise a little bit, as in action-wise.
I think it's kind of, taken over as king of the action.
Definitely.
Blockbuster.
Keanu's a legend.
Yeah, Keanu is just, he's something else. We don't deserve him. He's just too good for us.
An angel.
He really is.
All right, how many have I got left? Only a few, but this next one I kind of enjoyed quite a lot. It did make me laugh. So we got Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. Versus Billy Madison. They're both lovable idiots.
Billy Madison, he's got so much rage.
He has. I almost put him up against Gilmore, but then obviously Gilmore would just wipe the floor with him.
Oh, yeah. But I think against Lloyd Christmas, Billy Madison.
Yeah, but the thing I keep remembering, I mean, I know technically it was in his head, but that dream he had behind the wheel where he was beating up the guy in the Chinese restaurant, he's got some serious moves there and he pulls the guy's heart out.
He does. This is true.
He's capable.
Then, I mean, he's not the only one who has like these weird hallucinations and illusions.
The penguins.
Yeah, Billy Madison and his penguins.
It's very true.
Yeah.
But Billy Madison would be drunk a lot of the time. He's not got the drive.
No, but sometimes that makes you more dangerous.
That is true. Unpredictable.
Yeah, and Lloyd Christmas is he's too sweet. Like he's a nice guy.
He is a sweetheart. He's an absolute freak, but he means well.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I could see like a draw.
Maybe, yeah, double knockout.
Yeah, I feel like if he was to win against Billy, it would be like pure fluke, like an accident.
Yeah, but you could believe that about him. So
yeah, you could.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. How have we got? Okay, so there's two. There's one I've definitely got, but then there's another one. I've got one fighter, but I need you to help me figure out a second who his fight partner could be. But the one I've got, the complete one, is Shaun from Shaun of the Dead.
Yep.
Versus Columbus from Zombieland. So Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, Shaun from Shaun of the Dead.
Do you reckon? I initially thought that, but then I thought Columbus he's got some rules that he follows.
He has, but they mostly combat zombies. And if you think how easily he got like duped by the girls in Zombieland, like straight away. True. Whereas I feel like Shaun's a little bit more gutsy. Like he's a little bit like, I'm just going to bash your brains in with a cricket bat.
They've both got resourceful kills, like methods for zombies. But yeah, Shaun's a bit more rough and ready.
Yeah, although again, that one could go either way, really. But I'm going to go with Shaun, I think.
See, had he been up against Tallahassee...
Oh, Tallahassee would have just...
Tallahassee, would have got him.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to say Shaun.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Now, yeah, the last one, I've got one fighter in one corner, but I couldn't for the life of me. So I've kind of roughly paired the previous ones to like, similar kind of.
Yeah.
So all I've got so far is Paddington.
Ooh.
Who would fight Paddington?
Okay, well, it's got to be another like children's character, like beloved children's
Well,
character.
yeah, I kind of went to Gizmo from Gremlins, but
Yeah, I could see that. Although, I mean, that's the real because Gizmo himself would just be mullered, wouldn't he? But
he would get torn apart, yeah.
if we're talking about actual like gremlins, like Stripe, then I think Stripe
Yeah.
or Paddington's eyes out.
But then, lovable, adorable Paddington, he is a bear. He has got it in him. If he gets triggered, he's
This
going
is
to go.
true.
He's
Right,
going to.
can I just say at this point, right? So our last episode that was about animated films, I put that on for my daughter who
What, Paddington?
no, the podcast. She
Ah.
loves the podcast. Like she
Oh,
does.
awesome.
Ones that aren't appropriate, obviously, I wouldn't let her listen
Yes.
to. But the last one I thought was about animated films, and she listened to it
Yeah.
and she loved it. So if she is gonna listen to this one, I just want to clarify: Paddington is safe. Like he's okay.
I would not let anything happen to Paddington because the Paddington films are
No, do you know what?
genuinely fantastic. Like, they're so good.
They are, and I wouldn't let anything happen to Paddington either. So I guess Paddington would win because I would defend him. I don't think I'd defend Gizmo.
Nah, Gizmo's kind of gross. Like, he's kind of cute, but then also
He's
when I look at
dangerous.
him, he is dangerous. Paddington also always has snacks under his hat, so
Marmalade sandwich, yeah.
you gotta like a marmalade sandwich.
Yeah, you have.
Paddington, because he's got us in his corner.
Yeah, and a marmalade sandwich.
And a marmalade sandwich.
He could just, it's as long as he doesn't give it to Gizmo after midnight, it'd be fine.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, that was short and sweet.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
That's all right. I'm sorry it took 2 seconds.
No, that's all right. Because mine, I'm really worried that this is going to take quite a while. So
I mean, I don't mind because you're the one who has to sit through and edit this. If anyone listening, I turn up usually about 5 minutes late, fairly unprepared, and then just waffle for like 2 hours, and then poor old Niall's got to sit and somehow squeeze it under 2 hours.
We just have fun making it. That's the main thing.
You're much appreciated, and I love you for it. So thank you very much.
Well, I love you for being here. So yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, let's move on now. Okay. So what I've done is, I will be completely honest here. I have stolen this from something that someone has written. So I'm going to credit them now before I start. I found this on cracked.com.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called 5 Hit Movies That Swiped Their Plots. And it was originally written by someone called Connor Briggs Morris.
Great name.
Yeah, it was also very well written, very funny. So, go and check that out. This isn't my thing as such, but I have taken it, I've reworded it a little for length. But
that's all right. Everyone does that.
So what I'm going to do, Jack, is I'm going to, basically, this is 2 popular films that have the exact same plot. None of them are ones that I thought, oh yeah, that's really obvious. So what I'm going to do is, for each one, I've picked out the one that I think you're least likely to have seen. And I'm going to tell you that that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to run through the plot, and then I want you to see if you can work out which other film has the exact same plot. Okay?
You're gonna tell me the film that the plot is based on. Hold on, it's late.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, for some of them, I'm going to be saying the earlier version. For some, it will be the one that was made after that's ripped off the plot. But I'm going to tell you the name of the film I'm describing, and I'm going to describe the plot loosely, or as loosely as necessary. And it's going to very, very closely, describe the plot exactly of another film.
Gotcha.
So this goes beyond just a general premise thing. This is down to like story progression. One of them, this first one, is literally scene for scene a remake, and I had never noticed it, so it's great. Okay,
cool. This will be fun.
So to start with, this is the plot of the 1999 action spy thriller The World Is Not Enough, James Bond, as we were just talking about.
Yep.
The opening scene is a mid-air action sequence introducing the villain whose henchmen sacrifice themselves to rescue the big bad. And this villain is a large, bald terrorist who is nearly impervious to pain. Then, cut to the hero's mentor telling them that they're too old to be a hero, followed by a doctor telling them the same thing. Then it introduces a European businesswoman who immediately sleeps with the hero. Immediately after that, another woman steps in and replaces that first woman, the European one. Then the large bald terrorist comes back, and you notice that he's got a really funny voice, like a really weird voice at this point. Big, bald guy, funny voice. And he basically, some stuff happens, and then he physically overpowers the hero. The hero then overcomes his injuries, only to learn that the bald guy, the terrorist, actually works for the European woman, right? The one he slept with.
Right.
And that she has plans to continue her father's legacy by nuking an entire city, right? The hero manages to get the bomb away from the city and escape, but he is then seen taking a much needed break in a remote location with the second woman, the replacement woman from earlier, and he's spotted by his mentor in this far-flung location. So that was The World Is Not Enough, but it's also very closely a much more recent film that I think you will have seen. Any ideas?
My head hurts.
I'll give you a clue. All right, it's a superhero film, and it is the last one in a series of superhero films.
Well, then, is it Endgame?
No, not at all.
Oh, damn it. Okay, hold on. Bald.
Bald villain with a funny voice.
I'm thinking of Kingpin from Spider-Man. Is it Spider-Verse?
No. Do you want me to tell you?
One more clue.
Okay.
If you've got them.
I'm trying to think of a clue that doesn't just give the whole thing away. Okay.
God, so that plot is... So that is the plot of Bond, but another film has pretty much used it.
Another, I would say, a much more popular film than The World Is Not Enough. Much more high profile. The two of the main, actually 3 of the main stars, the main hero, the main villain, and the hero's mentor are all British actors, but it's not a British film.
All I'm thinking of is... No, it wouldn't be that.
Go on, just guess it.
I just keep going back to bloody Marvel. I keep going back to Downey Jr.
Right? That is exactly the plot of The Dark Knight Rises.
Hold on. I'm just trying to think.
You see, Bane, the big bald terrorist.
Yeah.
Miranda Tate's trying to nuke the city. Yep. It's just exactly the same plot. Like from start to finish. Christopher Nolan, you naughty, naughty boy.
You naughty posh boy.
Okay. So, just to clarify, the rest of these aren't quite as long. That one was the one that's most closely follows the plot of...
I'm sweating. That made me nervous.
I've tried to keep them quite brief, but there are so many things of like similarities between these sets of films, and it's crazy. There's
only so many stories to tell. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have at least changed like a few things because this is bad.
That's true.
All right, so the next one, I couldn't decide which of these 2 films it was more likely that you'd see, which one that would more likely jump to your mind. So I've gone with the oldest one first. So I'm going to describe this as it's a classic film. So this is the plot of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Right.
A cynical detective harbours a prejudice against a local community of sort of non-humans, blaming them for a personal tragedy. A member of that community is suspected of murdering a human, and the detective investigates. First, he interviews a sleazy CEO, then he's nagged by a female sidekick into believing the suspect's innocence after finding a piece of evidence that no one can understand. He then finds the real killer, an evil member of the other community who has established themselves in a position of power over the humans. The hero is able to kill the villain by using a convenient weakness and rethinks their prejudice ever so slightly, but they don't actually get rid of their prejudice entirely. So that's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but it is also the plot of a slightly more recent film.
I don't remember Roger Rabbit being that kind of complex.
It's not, but it is in again, the original sort of post had a little bit more information on this, and I can... Yeah, you'll have to look it up if you want to read afterwards about this. But this is...
I'm feeling so dumb.
No, it's really abstract because they're not, especially these 2 are not films that you would link in your head. No, not at all.
Okay.
Let me give you a clue. Okay, so the film that we're looking for here is a sci-fi film.
Right.
And obviously in Roger Rabbit, that other community is the Toons. But for this other film, Obviously, think like the most sci-fi thing you can think of, not aliens.
Not Star Wars.
It's not a Star Wars film.
No, Star Wars came before that. Okay, so science fiction-esque.
Yeah, it's full science fiction. It's like a near future science fiction film.
I'm feeling so stupid right now. Is it like a live action but with animated characters woven in, jobby?
Live action with CGI characters, yes.
Okay, I don't know what I don't know what it says about me, but I keep going back to Marvel films. I keep thinking like Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, so I feel like this one's slightly more obvious than The Dark Knight Rises was, but not massively. And it's not a film that I know for definite you've seen. It's not one we've ever talked about, but
right.
It is a popular film. Do you want me to tell you who the star of it is?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, Will Smith.
Oh, Men in Black?
No.
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 iRobot.
Yes, iRobot. Exactly the same plot as Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that does make sense. I need to re-familiarize myself with Roger Rabbit, but
yeah, I've not seen it in years and years, but yeah, iRobot I actually know a bit better than Roger Rabbit for some reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's completely the plot of both films, like
God,
to the letter.
Ages. That's a great film.
This one is two films. This next one, right, is
That's going to stump me.
Two films that are so different, both excellent in very different ways.
Right.
And it's not until you really look that you realize actually that's the exact same story. I'll be honest though, the one I'm going to describe here is not one that I have watched for a long time. So I'm taking Connor Briggs Morris's word for this, but I do remember.
Better not be lying.
Well, I mean, if he did lie, he posted that lie on the internet. So, you know, shame on him. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to describe to you the plot of The Prince of Egypt. You know, the animated classic.
Oh God, not the Jake Gyllenhaal one.
No, that's Prince of Persia. Prince of Egypt is the story of Moses, Jack.
Oh yes, my favorite biblical character.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I love a bit of Moses. So, both of these films are famous mythological stories from different mythologies, but both plots follow two brothers who are also princes that are pit against each other by their overbearing father. One is exiled and falls in love with a woman from another culture. He then has to protect her people from his brother's anger. Okay. It also comes out that one brother is adopted and was actually born to his father's enemies. Both films' heroes also use blunt objects with magical powers, and when they return home, they both find their fathers dead with their brothers on the throne.
That's got to be Thor, surely.
It is. The Prince of Egypt and Thor have the exact same plot.
Thank you so much for that.
I mean, I feel like it's abstract, but it's obvious when you look at it sort of in those terms. There is a little bit more to those similarities that I left out because I just thought surplus requirements, really. But this next one's a bit of a weird one, but it's another one that's just so like closely follows the plot.
Too close.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever actually seen this. If I have, I don't remember it. But it's quite recent. Jack the Giant Slayer.
Ewan McGregor?
No, I think it's Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, okay. Has Ewan done one like that?
I have no idea. Like, not a clue. He might have done. You're not thinking of Big Fish, are you? Because there is a giant in that film.
He is in that film with Nicholas Hoult. I've just looked it up.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I've not seen it, but no. Oh, 2013. I thought it was older than that. Anyway.
Yeah, no. So Jack the Giant Slayer. Okay, you ready?
Okay. Yeah, go on.
A poverty-stricken young man walks into a marketplace where he defends a young woman from a group of creepy old men. He then learns that she's a princess. The young man then finds himself in the possession of a mundane item with magic powers. Elsewhere, the princess is being ordered by her father, the king, to marry his advisor, who just so happens to be evil. The advisor then learns that the young hero possesses this magic item, and he tries to drown him. The drowning doesn't work, but the advisor manages to steal the magic item anyway, harnessing its power for his own evil ends. The young hero then has to fight a giant enemy, which he defeats by using the villain's magic against him. The king then allows the commoner hero to marry his princess daughter. So that is a massively, massively popular film that if you've not seen recently, you would have definitely watched as a kid.
I initially, the first half of that, I thought Star Wars, like A New Hope, but that is not right.
No, not at all. Like every single part of what I've just read is just exactly taken from either one of those two films. So there's not a single thing in there that isn't part of both.
Wow. Okay.
So just keep that in mind.
I
will give you a clue.
Yeah.
The film that I'm looking for here is an animated film, and it is massively popular.
Shrek? No, it's not Shrek.
It's from the 90s.
From the 90s, okay.
Yeah.
Who was making animated films in the 90s?
Who's making animated films full stop?
Okay. Was it a Pixar?
No.
No.
You're close. You're close. Go bigger.
Well, okay, Disney.
Yeah, Walt Disney.
Okay, Mr. Walt. What's he been? That's not the first time he's nicked stories either.
Let me just read you this first two sentences. All right.
Okay.
Poverty-stricken young man walks into a marketplace where he defends a young woman from a group of creepy old men.
Aladdin.
It's Aladdin. It's Aladdin.
Ah, there we go.
They completely ripped off Aladdin.
Oh.
For Jack the Giant Slayer, like exactly the same plot. Yes.
Is Jack? Well, I mean, you haven't seen it, but does Jack the Giant Slayer follow Jack and the Beanstalk, like that kind of?
It does. So the magic beans are obviously the sort of counterpart,
right,
for the magic lamp. But I mean, the rest of it was not part of Jack and the Beanstalk. Like there was no princess in Jack and the Beanstalk.
No, I don't think there was.
There was none of that evil advisor stuff. They just stole that from Aladdin and threw it in.
Worked there.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch that now.
Do you know what? So do I, because like it actually does look and sound quite fun, and it's got a good cast.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, they stole
Tucci's in it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's the evil advisor.
Mate, there's loads of people in that, and Ian McShane and Bill Nighy are in that.
Wow, that.
Damn.
And they're all plagiarists, so you know.
However,
to be fair, I stole this list off of someone else who wrote it, so I know better. Really.
Do you know what? You've probably. It might not have been on that article you read because it's a bit different, but you know that Lion King was completely ripped off.
Oh yeah,
off a Japanese.
No, it was ripped off of Hamlet. It's Shakespeare.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, then, but the one they've ripped off is it has already been made in, I think it's Japanese, but it's literally the same thing, including lions and wildlife.
Oh yeah, I have heard sort of about that.
Yeah,
I never really
exactly the same.
Yeah,
and no one's heard of it.
I mean, Pixar have some really original stuff, I think, but
yeah,
Disney
more so
really
than Disney.
Don't. It's all just like, fairy tale stuff, folklore stuff, or
which works. It is kind of cool, but I mean that is just straight up. Nicking that from a smaller, lesser known person.
Then maybe they deserved Jack the Giant Slayer just coming along and swiping their plot.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe
I have got one more. Right.
Go on.
And these again are two stories that are so vastly different, but
right.
And it was actually quite sad for me to learn because I love this second film. I've not seen the first film that I'm going to talk about, but I have read the book years ago. So the film I'm talking about here is The Great Gatsby. All right. Now, the film is fairly recent. It's
along with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I want to say it's also 2013. I might be wrong, but
it is around that time.
Yeah, fairly recent. The film that's plagiarized it is actually older, but obviously The Great Gatsby is a classic novel, so you can't, you know.
So we're talking in this case, the film has kind of ripped off the Gatsby book.
Yeah, yeah.
There was an older Gatsby film, was there not?
Oh, there's probably. I think there's been several, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A rich, depressed eccentric with a reputation for fun is actually a deeply miserable recluse. After a chain of random events lead to his meeting a young, kind-hearted nobody, the two become close friends. The rich man reveals that his depression stems from a lost love, and his new friend helps him to reconnect with her. It turns out that she's married to someone almost as obnoxious as the rich protagonist, but he tries to seduce her anyway. She admits to still having feelings for him, which results in a tense family meal and ultimately a pretty ridiculous physical confrontation between the rich guy and the husband. In the end, the girl stays with her husband and the rich guy remains alone. Any ideas?
And the film is fairly old.
No, not. It's slightly older than The Great Gatsby. I want to say 2009, the film we're looking for here. I believe. It is one you've 100% seen. We've even talked about it on the podcast briefly before.
Right. Is he a bit of a drunk? Like, is his life a mess?
His life is a mess, yes.
Okay.
I don't think he is a drunk. He might be.
Mm.
It's a film by someone that we both love.
What, directed by?
No.
Or is it in it? Oh, so is it a Sandman?
It is a Sandman.
Is it Mr. Deeds?
No,
that's way old. I think it's Sandman films from that kind of. Does he star in it, or has he produced it?
No, he stars in it, and it's not an out-and-out comedy. It is
Punch Drunk Love.
No,
that's completely different. Let me think.
It is a comedy, but it's not.
Is it Funny People?
It is Funny People. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stole The Great Gatsby. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I've not seen The Gatsby actually.
No, I've not seen it, but it's supposed to be pretty good. It's just
I've got it sitting on my shelf. I bought it ages ago. I just never got around to watching it.
No, to be honest, at that point I was kind of going through a bit of a Leo burnout. Like, he's so popular and he's brilliant. I'd never say that he isn't, but yeah, I just kind of got to a point where I was like, oh, and I didn't really want to do like this sort of period film with but I love Tobey Maguire, and it's always been one I know I should watch, but I've just not watched.
Yeah, same.
And again, knowing where the story goes, just kind of, I don't know, it just feels like a chore to watch it now because I know what's going to happen. I know that the actors are good. I know that it's going to be a good film, but no surprises in it. What's the point? I don't know.
Well, especially if Adam's not in it, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, if it was The Great Gatsby as told by Adam Sandler, like,
oh yes.
Well, you can just watch Funny People for that.
We could. Well, yeah, exactly. God,
that's my 5. That is my.
That was really good. I feel really dumb for only getting like 2 of them, and you basically handed a couple of them to me on a plate. But
yeah, but I only knew them because I'd read. Like, I never would have made those connections on my own at all. So
God, yeah, that was quite tricky actually.
It's not as easy as you think. I bet there are loads out there.
Oh, there's got to be so many.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder if any of these have gone to, like, I don't know, would you take to court? Who takes to court? The writers?
I don't know. I think the bar is actually pretty low for what you have to change to get away from plagiarism. I think the closest one to actual plagiarism would be Dark Knight Rises, because it's like it's exactly mirrored, like all of it. So like Alfred is the mentor in Dark Knight Rises, where it's Judi Dench in James Bond.
Yeah.
Literally the first like 5 scenes run in exactly the same order. It's just mad.
Interesting. Well, maybe because, it's quite obvious Nolan would absolutely nail directing a Bond film. Maybe that was his little...
his audition, yeah.
His audition, yeah.
Well, there's something to keep an eye on, I guess. He would maybe breathe a bit of life into Bond.
Can you imagine? Well, that's basically... Have you watched Tenet yet?
I haven't, no.
See, Tenet it's another one that's kind of split people down the middle, but I absolutely love that film. It's so good.
I have yet to see a Christopher Nolan film that I haven't loved, so, I mean...
You'll enjoy it, I know you will.
Yeah, he is a talented guy, but The Dark Knight Rises, apparently he phoned it in.
Wah, wah.
Okay, should we move on to segment 3?
Yeah, well, let's go on to segment 3. I've completely forgot what segment 3 is, but you're going to lead me in.
Do you want me to do the crazy frog thing again, or shall I just say it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Is it the news?
It's what's going on, yeah.
Yes.
Jack, what's going on?
You know what? I don't know. I've actually been really looking forward to you kind of telling me what's going on.
Because I literally sent you the list of the news.
I know you did.
It's funny that you don't know. Okay, well, we've had a couple of deaths.
Yes,
it's really sad. Yeah. We won't dwell too much on it because it's kind of a downer.
It is a bit of a sad one.
The first one is not so sad actually because he was old, but Ed Asner died.
Yeah,
91 he was. So
91's a good age.
It is, and do you know what? I know a lot of people remember him from a lot of different things, just sort of generationally. And as much as Up is kind of one of his biggest recent ones, do you know what? For me, his biggest role will always be J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man animated series from my childhood.
Yeah. I forgot that was him until I went through his IMDb the other day. Well, when he passed, I looked at his and I completely forgot.
When I first watched Up, I was like, hold on, he sounds so familiar. Like, why
Yeah,
do I know his voice that much? And then when I looked through, I was like, oh, okay.
there we go. He had a great voice.
Yeah, he did. So yeah, he is sadly no longer with us. But the real
Yeah,
tragedy death is Michael K. Williams from The Wire.
yeah, that is sad.
Yeah, I mean, we won't go into the whys and the wherefores, but he was 54.
It's no age, is it?
No, and do you know what? He obviously in The Wire, he was. You can't forget that. Like, I've only seen bits of The Wire, and I know.
So yeah, same. But I'm aware of how his
Um,
presence.
but did you ever watch Community? Did you ever see him in Community? Because that was so
I didn't
funny.
actually. Was he good in that?
He was he was only in a few episodes, but he was really funny. He played this super intense, I want to say like criminology teacher or something like that, or he was
I can
some
see
sort of
it.
teacher in it, and he was like really intense. It was really funny.
Oh,
But yeah, so that's really sad.
that is sad.
Speaking of the dead, this is an awful segue, and I feel really bad about it.
I look forward to seeing where this one's going.
Speaking of the dead, we had the release of some Resident Evil set images from the new film.
Hey,
Yeah, so we've had some images come out. They don't
I
show
did
a
actually
lot.
know this.
So I actually covered this briefly for Screen Rant. Just I did a little thing about whether or not this film is linked to the sixth film kind of saga that already exists. It's not.
Good, because I've not seen any of them.
But no, it is an interesting thing because I didn't hate those Resident Evil films, but I'm a big fan of the games, like especially the first few games, and
Yeah,
they did not do justice to that franchise whatsoever.
yeah, it didn't look as scary.
No, and do you know, I will be honest and say I can't remember the name of the director for this new one, but it's called Welcome to Raccoon City, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
That's a
And
great name.
yeah, and do you know what? It is he's come out and said basically, he doesn't want to take away from those films, but it's not even in the same vein as them. It's going to be based a lot more closely on the games. He's going to be
Okay,
using like the same sort of fixed camera angles in places to get that same sort of creepy vibe.
nice.
It's going to be sort of much more closely follow the design and the tone and the sort of general horror elements as opposed to just making it like an action thing.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. There's the characters look great, like the designs look amazing.
Mm.
So yeah, really excited to see where that goes. Another thing that has come out, which I'll be honest, I only included because I knew you would be really excited to talk about it. Did you see the little featurette for the French Dispatch?
I did see it, and it's just I cannot wait for that film. I really can't.
No, do you know what? It looks so fun.
It's
I mean,
wacky.
this is the thing. It's Wes Anderson in it, so it's gonna be like
Yeah, see,
what to expect from him, really. But you also
you
don't.
do, but this film kind of looks, well, not looks different, but story-wise, there's a lot going on. There's like multiple stories, and it does kind of feel a little bit different. I don't know what it is.
Well, it is. It's still got that sort of trademark, like quirky charm to it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
the
I
comedy
like
and the
that it's a slightly different approach to storytelling. I like that it's got those same it's got a big cast of weird and wonderful characters, and that's
humongous cast.
that's a Wes Anderson thing, I think. But yeah, it is very exciting, and just sort of the people in that featurette, like the actors that
Yeah,
were there talking about their characters, and just yeah, it's very exciting. I've actually mostly stayed away from I know what it's about. I'm excited to watch it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to
yeah.
read too much. I just want to go in blind. But
That is one we'll definitely have to go and see together when that comes out.
yeah, do you know what, more and more lately I'm thinking now I'm having to cover it for work essentially. I might as well just get a limitless pass or whatever and just dip into the cinema every
Yeah, definitely.
couple of times a week.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So as well as that featurette, Jack, there was a teaser trailer released last week, I want to say.
Yeah.
So I'm not that excited about this, personally, but it
Mm.
leads nicely into the last news item, which is quite fun. It was a teaser trailer for Red Notice, which is a Netflix action spy comedy thriller starring The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. Did you
No, I
catch
didn't
it at
actually.
all?
I'm not. No, I
No.
honestly, that completely Miss Me. I have not even heard
Oh,
of it.
so I will be completely honest here, and I will say each of those actors, I think they're great. They can all do action. They can all do comedy fairly well. I think,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think it will be a bad film by any stretch. But just from this teaser trailer, which was like a minute and a half, The Rock was The Rock, Ryan Reynolds
Mm.
was Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot was the same sort of suave
Yeah.
spy killer that she was in like Fast and Furious and stuff like that. So I'm not massively excited, to
No, it
be
doesn't.
honest. I will. Thing is, and so this next news item directly covers this. But the thing is with these Netflix films is you know you're going to watch them because you've got the subscription. There's no reason not to watch it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we won't go into too much about Red Notice specifically because again,
Nah.
and this is what I was referencing at the start when I was talking about Sweet Girl, is did you see Patty Jenkins, the Wonder Woman director? It sort of came out talking about streaming platforms and sort of claiming
Yeah.
that they make fake looking movies.
Yeah. I partially agree, but then also that's complete rubbish. Like,
Yeah, well, see, that was almost exactly what I was going to say. Is I don't agree with the specific sentiment of fake looking movies. I don't think their movies look fake. I don't.
no.
That's a really weird
I
choice
know
of
what she's
words.
going for though.
But in a sense, it does ruin that cinematic experience because, like, a film like Red Notice is, I think it's got like a massive, like, I want to say $200 million budget or something crazy like that.
Wow.
And it's obviously going to be a big film. Like, they've got
Oh
three
yeah.
big stars. They've obviously put a lot into it. But for it to just come out on Netflix, it puts it among the likes of films like Run, which was just this
Yeah.
little sort of nothingy horror film that was decent. But, you know, I think the word that springs to mind about these sort of straight to streaming films generally is passable.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Back in the day when Netflix were first pumping out their originals, they had
Yeah.
some good films. Like they were all like decent, but I mean the rate they churn them out now is just insane. Like, and I just
Yeah.
generally, if I see Netflix original, I honestly I will probably not watch it. I just can't. I know I won't love it, with the
Yeah.
exception of like if I see like the Safdie brothers are attached to it. So Uncut Gems completely breaks
Yeah.
the mold for that.
Well, see, this is the thing is like Netflix have done some amazing TV shows, and I
Yes, TV
honestly,
more so.
I want to say, in a lot of ways, Netflix are kind of the real like kings of TV now,
Yeah,
and it has completely changed the way people consume media, like massively.
yeah, fully.
But these films that they're pumping out, like Sweet Girl, I'll be honest, if that had released 15, I don't know, 10 years ago even to theaters, I think that would be kind of considered on a par with something like Taken, which has got,
Yeah,
you know, a massive fan base. The fact that it's just this Netflix film, it barely got publicized and then it made no splash whatsoever. Just no one cares. Like, and
no,
that doesn't matter to Netflix. Like, they can just sort of afford to like throw money at stuff and just, yeah, we'll just put like, you know, 50, 60 million into this and 100 million into that.
yeah. It's nothing, is it?
And I don't think they're fake looking movies, like Patty Jenkins says. Like, the production values on them are generally pretty good. And same with Afterlife of the Party was another one.
Yeah.
Some of the effects in it were a little bit like, okay, but
I think I think I know what she's going for. She's probably going for like she thinks they're cookie cutter, like
yeah,
by the numbers. However, that I think that's kind of rich coming from someone who's directing a DC superhero film. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, and
yeah, you might be putting your spin on it, but at the end of the day, like it is what it is. It's gonna look the same to a degree.
yeah. Well, this is kind of what I took away from it is if what she's trying to say is that it's killing cinema, absolutely.
Yeah,
There are so many releases now, and like with this Red Notice, you see this trailer and it's got these incredible production values. You can tell it's a big budget. It's got The Rock, it's got Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot. You think three mega stars, and then you find out, oh, it's a Netflix film. Okay, well,
yeah, meh.
great, because pretty much everyone, like almost everyone in the world, has access to Netflix somewhere or another.
Somehow, yeah.
It just sort of becomes one of those things. You see it's a Netflix film and you think, oh, okay. And you put it in the back of your mind and you think, well, when it comes out, I'll watch it. And what I think that does is, especially like for me personally, is there's a big part of me that just feels like every single film is going to end up at some point on Prime or Netflix or Disney Plus, um, or Hulu or whatever. You're going to end up with it being available to you somewhere. So
Yeah, so what's the point of going to go see it?
yeah, and it's only for like very specific things that I think it really motivates you to get out and go and see it in the cinema, which
Yeah.
I hate that I feel that way now. That that's really upsetting
Well,
that I feel like that. But
yeah, but I would agree, to be honest.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
will I will go out of my way to watch and support, I suppose, indie films. I mean, they've still got massive budgets, but I mean, compared, going up
Yeah,
against
like
Disney and
smaller
whatever, like,
productions and yeah,
yeah, I will go out of my way to go and watch those. The problem is, where we live, I just don't have access to those. Like, there's a cinema near me, like an independent, which I love so much, and I'm lucky because they often show films that won't get shown at like Odeon or Cineworld.
are we talking Kino here?
We're talking Kino, yeah. More
Yeah.
specifically, the one in Rye. It is like literally my favourite cinema. It is so good. Like,
Yeah,
um,
I think we are quite lucky that we have sort of facilities for that. But I mean, people in sort of bigger cities as well do generally have access to these sorts of things. But
well, this is it. My friend in London. I'm literally not even joking. We talk about, because he's another massive film fan, and we'll talk about films, and there'll be like 10 different independent cinemas in London that are all showing these films that would never even get shown anywhere else. Like, you just wouldn't be able to watch them.
no, and this is the problem, is because everyone everywhere has access to all these Netflix releases, and there's always something to watch. And like I was saying earlier, I've watched all these Netflix films. Not one of them was a bad film.
No.
I also forgot to add to that list, I watched Vacation Friends, which I think is a Hulu original, which is on Amazon Prime now. It's John Cena
Okay.
buddy comedy thing.
Oh, that one.
Do you know what? It made me laugh. John Cena was actually really good in it, but it wasn't an interesting film. It didn't do anything that hasn't been done before. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything. It wasn't one of those experiences where you come away and you feel like you've really,
Inspired.
yeah, like you've even really experienced something new.
Yeah.
I was entertained, and that was it. And that's the problem, is they do enough, these
Yeah.
streaming films, that they do enough that you will watch them. They'll do enough that you'll come again. Yeah, that was all right. And because you haven't had to pay anything or even leave your house or get dressed or do anything to watch it, it just becomes well, that's your new go-to. It's a habit more than it's
That is film watching
pleasure.
now.
Yeah, I don't really take a lot of pleasure from watching stuff like that, but
No.
it's become a habit because it's so easy, and because for the last 2 years you've not really been able to go to a cinema and watch a film,
No.
and even now it's still a little bit sort of iffy in places.
I do know, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's a wider problem, I think, than just that they make fake looking movies. I don't think.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I did read the whole like interview and the whole like sort of everything she said, and I don't remember all of it. But
No.
it's an odd comment, but
It
there's,
is an odd
there's
comment.
something to it, definitely.
Yeah. It's borderline the whole Scorsese thing, isn't it? Like, superhero films aren't real films. But I mean, again, that's another discussion for another time. But I think that's complete and utter rubbish.
Yeah, and I think if it's what you enjoy, then I don't think you should ever let anyone take that away from you. I don't
No, definitely.
I don't think it's fair for someone to trash what someone else loves. And do you know what? A lot of people work really hard to make those films, and
Yeah, the people behind the scenes, like, it takes so much to make a film,
yeah,
like,
and
rubbish or not.
do you know what? Like I was saying about Sweet Girl, and I said I'll talk about it a little bit. I won't go into it too much because
Yeah,
put my thoughts in the review. It's up on the site. If you're interested, you can read it. But Jason Momoa, especially, there was this one particular scene very early on where he breaks down in a hospital and he's like wailing and he collapses to the floor and he's like
going for
sobbing
it.
his heart out. And I was watching it thinking that is such a good piece of acting. But then the rest of the film was very sort of,
Mm.
it wasn't by the numbers. Like it was, there was something to it, definitely, but it wasn't, you know, anything new. And yeah, it just, you can almost tell now when you're watching a Netflix film, or it, there is a certain sort of tone to it. There's a certain almost laziness to it that just sort of follows through in every aspect, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but that's, yeah, we can
To
maybe
each their own.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Jack, we've just had a little moan about something that irritates us.
As always.
We've got a little segment where we normally do that. Do you remember the name of segment 4 by any chance?
It is pet peeves.
We've got peeves and there are pets. Jack, go on. What's been irritating you?
Well, it's a really broad one. It's kind of cheap, but it is a peeve. I don't know if we've talked about it or not. Have we talked about reboots, remakes?
No, we haven't. No. Go on, hit me.
Yeah, I mean it's obvious a hugely obvious one, which a lot of people have issues with, and it's not even a pet peeve. It's just a straight up hate at this point. It's just frustrating, I think. I mean, it's hypocritical of me to say, because the big one being Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yes, I did really, really, really enjoy them, despite what people think about,
Yeah.
8 and 9.
Same. I love them. It's
Yeah. Did it need rebooting? Not really. I mean, if you want a younger audience to be into Star Wars, literally just show them the original films. Like, they're still amazing.
I mean, the thing is with Star Wars, like, I liked that they were continuing the story, absolutely, but the amount that they retconned to do it was just, it felt like a slap in the face. Like, it's not quite the same with Star Wars, I don't think, because they didn't reboot as such, but they got rid of so much existing stuff that it just was a little unfair.
It was, because they obviously introduced a whole new audience to Star Wars, which is fantastic, but then they completely alienated a whole core group of people who were invested in the expanded universe, and there was so much to it that just, like you said, just got completely chucked out the window, and it was a bit of a bad move, I think.
Yeah. So can I just ask a little question here about yours?
Yeah, go on.
It might be that I'm tacking something on that wasn't previously.
No, go on.
But how do you feel about the live action remakes of like animated films?
Hate them.
Well, do you know what? In principle, I hate them, but there's at least 2 of them that have been really good. Specifically, the live action remake of Aladdin was excellent. Like,
I think you're the only person I know who has a good word to say about that film.
No, I really liked it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's not high art or anything, but generally speaking, like, as a child of the 90s, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I haven't watched it, just on principle, really. They don't really do much for me. Like the classic Disney's, I don't really care.
No, and it's Disney especially are just doing this over and over and over. It's like The Little Mermaid's still coming out. We've got a Hercules one coming, I think.
Yeah, Mulan was a massive flop for various reasons, but
that wasn't a bad film. Like, that was an okay film, generally speaking. I actually quite enjoyed it as a film, but that film was like, Mulan especially was a little bit like sacred to me. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a special film.
The animation and that was beautiful, and I just think, especially for those like sort of 90s films of the real like Disney Renaissance sort of era, they're remaking them all into live action, and part of the beauty of that was the animation, and it's just lost in this need for like
exactly.
Yeah,
I don't see the obvious reason is money. They spend a huge amount of money, but then they make it back within like a day of it opening. I don't know. Out of all of the Disney ones, I haven't seen all of them. So the first one they did was Beauty and the Beast, right? Was that?
Possibly. I think they did a Cinderella live action first.
Yes, they did actually.
Awful. And so they've done another one. They've just done it all over again now.
Again, I will absolutely be so annoyed if they go anywhere near Alice in Wonderland. Like, the technology is. Oh yeah, the Tim Burton one.
Yeah,
I completely forgot. And actually, I take that back. I somewhat enjoyed that, but
yeah, but again, like, it was an okay film. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hate it, but it was pointless. There was no need to do it.
It was pointless.
Can I just say one thing though that will poke a hole in your entire pet peeve?
You're gonna go for Ghostbusters?
No. The Ghostbusters reboot was awful. I would never defend it. Not too long ago, as part of this podcast, you actually uttered the words, "There are only so many stories to tell."
There's only so many stories to tell. That's the problem. Yeah.
So
there are, but
you're a hypocrite. You're just
well, no, because there's ways of telling stories, but completely just going, right, we've got a story we did 20 years ago. Let's just do it again. Let's hire someone who's kind of in at the moment, and let's just see where it goes. I just don't.
This was popular like with audiences in the last generation. So
because they're like, oh, we'll take our kids to see that because I loved that when I was a kid, and that's where the money is, isn't it?
It is, but can I just say, as a parent, your children do not like the things that you like. Like, it is so hard and it's crushing when you show them something you loved and they're like, okay.
Yeah, well, then you go, listen here, you, Paw Patrol, and get in the bin.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, it becomes bullying. Like, I'm not going to bully my own.
That's true. And I will say, Ghostbusters, as excited as I am to see that, when I think about it, why am I excited? Because I get to see Bill Murray in it, undoubtedly.
Yeah, but again, see, that is because it's not a reboot.
Yeah, but it is. It's a soft reboot, isn't it?
It is, but it isn't. That is a sequel. Like, I'm sorry, it is part of the same universe. It's a sequel.
Yeah, but I think by the word reboot is literally bringing life back into a film or a series that has been vacant for a number of years. Surely that's how I kind of perceive it as well.
Okay, but by those standards, I don't disagree with the reboots at all. Because if it means we get a new good Ghostbusters film, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, but
it is
I'm conflicted.
Well, I think it's a good pet peeve. I really do. And I'll be honest, it makes mine look really dumb.
Well, it's a bit bigger than a pet peeve, isn't it? So really, that could be a segment entirely. But
yeah, maybe we should just do a new segment where we just moan about like.
That is what this is, surely.
I mean, yeah, but like really,
I'm always moaning
into it. Yeah, me too. It's part of being a fan. Okay, mine is really stupid. Like, it's really petty, but I've noticed this in several films. Like, it's happened at least a few times in the last couple of months in stuff I've watched. And so, running places, right?
What, physically running to destinations?
Yeah, so it's usually either children or teen characters. And, they want to show someone something. So this was I feel like I've done nothing but trash this film since I watched it. But it did a lot of these. Horns did it. You have one kid who wants to show another kid something. And he goes, come on, follow me. And runs off. And this other kid runs off after them. And you get like flashes of them running through this path and then along that bit. And then they're climbing over a stream. And it's like, how many times in your life have you run from one place to another because someone told you to follow them? It just wouldn't. If you were with your friends and they said, oh, come with me, I want to show you something. There's no way you would run there and not talk to them about what you were going to see. There is no way that you would run the entire way to somewhere. Like, and they're always surprised when they get there, like, oh, wow, it's so great, or whatever, or scary, or, whatever they're going to see. They're always surprised by it.
Yeah.
I just think back to my childhood. And to be honest, if another kid had said to me, like any kid, my brother or, a friend or whoever, had said, run with me, I want to show you something, and they just take off, I would have just left them. I would have just
like, where are you going?
Off you go, mate. I'm not coming with you.
It'd have to be really special.
I don't have anything against running. Like, I've done several half marathons.
You're an avid runner.
I'm a pretty fast boy, but it's just weird. Like, it's not a thing that happens in real life, and just annoys me. Just really annoys me.
It is in quite a lot of films, actually. Now I think of it, just running around.
And I think they do it with like child characters, because when you watch it as an adult, you don't always think that hard about it. You just think, oh, yeah, kids are weird, aren't they? They do weird stuff. Like,
you think that's because to a kid, like, running is like urgency, or it's like, oh my god, what's going to happen? Like, is it? I don't know.
I guess it shows that like childlike wonder. But as a child, I was never full of wonder. I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to see what everyone wants to show me. By the age of 4, I was completely disillusioned. So I cannot relate.
That's sad.
I want to see kids who are like me, just like grumpy, miserable, angry little balls of anxiety. That's what we need more of.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
Okay, shall we move on to our last little bits? Jack, did you bring a shout out this week? Who do you want to?
I did actually, and thinking about it, because obviously you've started doing the minis, well, not necessarily minis, but the side things of where we have guests on and you talk to them or whatever. A good friend of mine, a couple of months ago, he made his first ever short film, and he reached out and he said, "Would you like?" Because obviously he knows I enjoy films and whatever. He was like, "Would you like to come and give us a hand on shooting this film?" I was like, "Absolutely," because that sounds like great fun. That is something I would love to do, is make a film. Like that's the dream, really. I'm sitting on a few little stories, but anyway. So I had the pleasure of going up and being a production assistant on his short film, and it was 2 weeks ago. We went to the premiere of it in London, and it was really great. It was really cool to see. I was there all day, like 10 hours, and seeing the same scene over and over again. I just zoned out and I wasn't really aware of what was going on. And seeing it on screen, I was like, oh, okay, that's great. Like I knew it was going to be good, but seeing it come together was really cool. And I've just realised I've talked and not said who it is. His name is Tom Ganley, and super talented guy. And the short film is called Embers, and I believe it's been submitted into some festivals. So that's super exciting. I think at some point it'll be going up online, most likely like Vimeo or somewhere. So when that comes out, I'll plug that again because it's worth a watch.
Yeah. Well, can I just say you kept that so quiet because I had no idea about any of that. So that was news to me.
Oh well. Well, there you go. Secret
maybe
man.
we're not as close as I thought we were. No, that's amazing. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it was cool. And actually, I got to stand in as I'm like the back of me was in the film quite a lot, which is quite cool.
Cool.
I can't really explain what it is without giving it away. It's
no, don't, because I'd love to watch it. So don't don't spoil it. What we'll say is, anyone listening, as soon as you can, you just watch it. We'll share it on all the corner film stuff.
Yeah, definitely worth a watch. It's very funny. It's well written. So yeah, shout out Mr. Tom Ganley, and thanks for having me along. It was pretty cool seeing my name in the credits on the screen. That was a first, so that was kind of cool.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, good stuff. And I'm also now gonna ask for a favour in return from him. He can help me do mine if I ever get around to doing it.
Yeah, well, count me in too. So
absolutely, you can come and script write with me.
So mine this week is actually, we had our first ever guest on last week. It's a friend of mine called Harry Wells.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he's lovely. And do you know what? He did such a good job. If you've not listened already, I know you have, Jack, but for anyone who hasn't listened already, go back and have a listen. We just had a little chat we started talking about film and his sort of experience of screenwriting and how that works and his process and stuff. But we kind of talked a little bit about the wider process of writing and how that sort of goes for both of us. And we had a lot of fun.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and he was so lovely. He's so easy to talk to. He did an absolutely cracking job. So yeah, I just want to give Harry a little shout out again. I know I did last week, but
you got a post shout out for doing such a good job.
Yeah, and I know I already messaged you, Jack, but we got some really good numbers on that episode. So
that's great.
That's obviously something people wanted to hear.
Definitely, it was, and I'm not just saying that. It was super interesting actually. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, he did say he's happy to come back, so we will have to get him back on at some point soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's not a shout out, but if you enjoyed that episode, there is another one coming next week, hopefully, where I have another guest on. So I'm going to try and keep that going as long as I can get the guests.
Nice.
It saves me from scripting the minis, and I have a lot of fun just having a chat with different people.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, but it brings film sort of, like, me and you have very similar opinions on pretty much everything. So
yeah,
it's nice to sort of have a chat with people who feel a little differently, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
People who are involved in different ways. Like, I hadn't even thought of talking to someone who was a script writer. Like, hadn't really crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, and yeah, he's won a couple of awards already, and
yeah, awesome.
You know, remember the name, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah, that actually brings us to the end of this week's podcast. this has been a good one. I've really enjoyed this. This is.
It has been a fun one.
I felt like it was a little bit like bit of this, bit of that. We've been
a bit random.
diving into a bit of everything. I feel like it works better. It caters to that short attention span of the millennial listener.
That is us. And I'm just constantly now thinking of who I want to see fight.
Yeah, I feel like we should revisit that.
Definitely. We should do like a WWE like Grand Slam. We'll just get like so many people in.
Do you know what? That reminds me of I had an idea for something else to bring along and like ages ago, and I started making a list of them and never brought it. I won't ruin the surprise, but it's a lot of fun. I might do that sometime soon.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. So if you aren't already, again, not you, Jack. I know you are, but if you're not already, please do go and follow Corner of Film on all the social medias, all the good ones. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Corner of Film. And you can also follow me personally at Lord of the Grey on Twitter. If you're interested, that is. Don't. If you're not interested, don't bother.
No, what's the point?
Whatever. Yeah, you're fine. All right, fine.
Niall's loss.
Yeah. Also, please do subscribe or like or rate the podcast on your platform of choice. It does help give us a boost. We are on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Podbean. We're on Amazon Music, and we're on Google Podcasts. I will request an update on the Apple podcast situation.
Yeah, what's going on, Apple? Pull your finger out.
Well, they're as slow to get back about the podcast as their phones are. Oh dear! Don't sue us, Apple.
No, please.
Yeah. Okay, it's my turn for the quote this week, Jack. So
yes, it is.
I have brought along one that I thought was quite funny. In fact, it was a choice between several that were quite funny.
Oh, save them.
I've narrowed it down to one, and this one is so stupid, but it really made me laugh. This is from Basketball.
Right.
I don't get it. He's 8 years old, and he smells like Robert Downey Jr.
I've not seen that film, but I love that quote.
I've seen bits of it. It wasn't great, but
what do you think? What do you think RDJ smells like?
Whiskey and shame. I mean,
shame. Do you reckon?
Not recently, no. But
no, I
believe at the time the film was written and made, he was going through some stuff, and
yeah, bless him.
That's not funny, but the joke is quite funny. I mean,
that is a great joke. I think he just smells like money.
Oh, now now he just stinks of green. He's not that green, the good green. Well, Jack, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for being here.
Yep, always good fun.
Yeah, I haven't come up with a sign-off line yet. So,
oh yeah,
do you want to give it a crack? Because you might do this thing first time. So,
okay, we have been Jack and Niall from the Corner of Film podcast, and you have been goodbye.
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 Goodbye.